many years, residents of one North Charleston neighborhood have been dealing with noise coming from I-26, including resident and North Charleston Councilwoman Virginia Jamison. She talks to me about her fight to stop the noise in this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Councilman Virginia Jamison, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you, Quintin, for always being so gracious and allowing me to have my say, and I appreciate you.
You're very, very welcome. Who is Virginia Jamison these days?
Well, Virginia Jamison is the City Councilwoman in District 3, and I'm applauded by my constituents, and I serve them to the best of my ability with integrity and with a conviction. And again, I'm 6 months into this tenure, and we'll see what happens from there, but I'm really wanting to get the word out about something that I have been working on for 10 years.
As a matter of fact, define the corridor of noise in 2020.
Well, Quintin, and again, North Charleston has become the hub of every commercial transporter in the world, and we receive and send materials, building materials, anything you can imagine up and down the corridor. And the corridor is I-26. I-26 feeds I-526, I-26 feeds all of the area of the Palmetto Commerce Interchange. I-26 feeds what is going to be the Hugh Leatherman Terminal in a very short period of time.
Right.
That will add another 5,000 transporters to that roadway.
Let me go to it was an op-ed that Meredith Going, a North Charleston resident, wrote this a couple of weeks ago in the Post-Courier. She says this quote, "Several years ago, I put in an expensive double pane, hurricane-proof windows, mainly to eliminate some of the noise." Let me ask you this, Councilman Jamison. What have you done to your home recently?
Well, Quintin, back in 2010, when we really realized that the noise had increased exponentially, we went ahead and we created we put in new windows, we put in the new solid glass storm windows that I was told would decrease some of that noise. And again, people have lived in these homes for more than 35 years. I've lived in my home for 35 years. So I know when it changed, how it changed, and what we can anticipate in the future. Our yard, our lines as far as SCDOT line and the homeowner's line, it's only about 75 feet from that roadway. And we get it every night and every day. And that's starting to be more cumbersome, more noise is there. You take out the vegetation and it will be right on us. That noise will interrupt our quality of sleep. We don't have the events that we used to have in our backyard or our front yard. So we have been inundated, and I would really love somebody to hear. We talk about rules and regulations. Well, as the playing field changes, we've got to change the rules and regulations, and I would applaud anybody from my senator down to my House of Representative, down to my county, and down to my city to look at changing the rules for establishing this noise reduction in this corridor.
What rules are you looking at right now, Ms. Jamison?
Well, the rule that I really want SCDOT to change, and it is up to SCDOT to change it, is that if we have Part A and Part B money, Part A money means that there's a road project going on in that area. Part B money is monies that are allotted when there's not a road project. Well, the state of South Carolina, SCDOT, does not participate in that B money. So any kind of advances that we would have as far as getting noise reduction is years away. So if the noise corridor is what it is, and what if the noise corridor is going to increase tremendously. So why aren't we looking at this rule that is not applicable in any other state other than South Carolina? We met with a consultant from Virginia at a supposedly noise reduction conference, and he even said South Carolina have the most restrictive rules when it comes to SCDOT, noise reduction, and all of those things that would apply to a Part B pocket of money.
What are the current road projects in your neighborhood right now, Ms. Jamison?
Where do I start with that, Quintin? Where do I start? Approximately 6 years ago, we did the Ingleside Boulevard. Well, that was money from the 1 cent sales tax that I guess was to enhance the infrastructure. But in doing that, Charleston County was responsible for that, for creating that project, and the money was funded to the city of North Charleston. But we were not included in that pot of money. That project should have been included. Noise reduction, quality of life should have been included in an environmental impact study.
When you look at that study, what else do you look at?
Is it fair? Is it fair? We are doing more for the displacement of wildlife than we're doing for the quality of life of individuals. Quintin, I'll tell you, because I'm so closely connected to District 3,
right,
and especially that corridor that I have spoken to practically everybody there. In a sense, of course, in 10 years, the homeowners have changed. But I know them. I know their age. I know if they're having a debilitating event in their life. I know exactly what they would need or require to help them mend. So if we're human beings, we're taxpayers, where do we go from here?
You know, Miss Meredith Goring also wrote this quote. Mr. Okay. He said this quote: "The dozens of homes that backed up to the road have lost 10% to 15% of the value because of road noise." How many homes have actually lost value in 2019, Ms. Jamison?
Well, Quintin, I will tell you that the data that was collected by Charleston County and SCDOT did not serve us well. They're saying there's about 150 homes, but there's more than 250 homes that are affected, even more than 250, but I'm just saying on that corridor,
right,
that are being affected. That noise just floats all the way over maybe 3 streets from the area that we're talking about right now. So whatever noise reduction would do for that area would be a positive for those people that live even farther away from that immediate area. I am really concerned that as we age in place, and I did say we, that we have to be considerate of the homeowners. We have to know that they're aging, they have health issues, and we have to be mindful of that. There's something called emotional infrastructure, Quintin, and I'll tell you that emotional infrastructure affects your entire being. And so if I hear noise every night, and I'm not sleeping that 8 hours that is advised by the medical society, then I'm not going to be in a good mood. If I have congestive heart failure and I did not get that rest that I need, it's just going to exacerbate. Now I'm going to add healthcare costs to this situation. If my children are not sleeping at night and they wake up in the morning and tell me they're not sleeping, and then I'm going to send them to school, what's going to happen? You're going to have a very disruptive child. in that classroom. So we as a society need to start looking at the glass as being half full rather than half empty, and to bring those standards up, because we're having a tendency just to look at what's in front of us. We're not looking at past experiences, and we're not looking to prepare for a better future. We keep doing the same thing over and over again, and I'm here to tell you that it does not work.
Let me ask you this. The health issues. What health issues have the residents been dealing with over the past 10 years?
Oh, where do I start, Quintin? I'll go down the row.
Okay.
My neighbors, my friends, my people who are very valuable to me. Their friendship, all of that matters to me. One of the ladies that went home to be with the Lord about 2 years ago, she was experiencing some dementia. And on her good day, she would say, Virginia, that noise is just really, really bad. So now this lady who is experiencing dementia, but she remembers that noise. The same household, and she went home to be with the Lord. The same household, this man is experiencing some renal challenges, and you need to get rest. You need to be able to just kick back and enjoy your home. But now he's challenged because of this. Another family down the street, beautiful, wonderful guy. He experienced some health challenges and he went home to be with the Lord. But again, these are challenges that are exacerbated by noise, by the kind of pressure it puts on you when you have not gotten a great night's sleep.
Are there any unconventional issues that you've been dealing with because of this noise?
Well, I don't know if they're unconventional, but I think that even me as an individual, as a homeowner who have lived in the same home for 35 years and who've done all of the amenities to upgrade and know that now I can't have that party in my backyard because we can't even have a conversation like we're having in this beautiful park right here. It bothers me so much. So if that's resonating with me, then just think, what else is resonating? We need help. We needed to start with SCDOT because the I-26 is a federal highway.
Right.
So in all honesty, the federal government just allotted so much billions of dollars for infrastructure upgrade. Has anybody put us in this pot or a consideration over these past 10 years?
Have you been able to talk to United States Congressman Joe Cunningham?
I did meet with Representative Cunningham's person.
Okay.
And we had a very good conversation. She again directed me back to Charleston County that I had spoken to. I have spoken to everybody up and down the list. I have a checklist. I have a timeline that I have kept for 10 years. I have all of this information, Quintin, that I have gathered for over 10 years,
right,
from newspaper articles to articles that I have written to articles that the Post and Courier has helped us with, TV station has helped us with. So we have gotten the word out there, but nobody's listening. I want them to come out to I-26 corridor and meet with some of the homeowners and get their exact feel. We're desperate. We need help.
And in that particular op-ed, Going says this, quote, the dozens of homes that back up to the road have lost 10% to 15% of their value because of the road noise. How many homes have lost value in 2019?
Well, I applaud Mr. Goings for this, taking the initiative to write the letter. And let me tell you, I hear from my constituents every day, especially the ones that live in the corridors, and even the ones that don't live in the corridor. They're concerned for the people that lives in the corridor. And Mr. Goings said 10%. I think it's more. But because the neighborhood is so great, maybe when you're coming to purchase that home in that corridor, you're not hearing the noise. You're looking at all of the amenities of the area. And that's why I'm so passionate about keeping this community intact. We have beautiful properties. We have land around us. You could park your boat or 3 cars. There's so many things that you can do in a neighborhood of this magnitude, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to keep it a great place to live.
How will that quality of life look in the next 2 years?
Not
I know that's a
good.
tough question.
And again, I'm a futurist, so I can say that Quintin, as soon as that port, the Hugh Leatherman port, opens, and those 5,000 truckers are on that road carrying volumes to the port for, transportation to foreign countries, wherever, Quintin, we're going to be looking pretty shabby. Because now, and maybe I'm hurting my effort, because now I'm getting the word out. I'm trying to get it out. I've been trying for 10 years. But now people are going to be aware. Oh, I'm going over there. I'm going to look at a home. But what about that noise? So all of these factors play into this thing. We have got to give this community its quality of life back. We have got to make that investment, Quintin. As you can look around Tri-County area, we're building. But are we enhancing quality? Are we building on top of each other and taking away the quality of life? Well, people are looking for quality, and I certainly hope they continue to look for quality, and I certainly hope that the government entities would again talk about qualities for livability and community development.
What is the community development in your district?
Well, right now we're pretty level. Each corridor has 5 gas stations. We have a lot of car dealerships, so it's pretty level. There's room for growth, but again, we've got to consider a good fit for our communities.
How could you grow and with smart growth and this noise?
Well, Quintin, I think you'll have to be a master to figure this out. But what I'm saying, if we make the investment now on reducing that noise in that I-26 corridor, whatever we need to do to decrease that noise, it will be a plus for growth and development. Not only commercial growth and development, but also residential growth and development. It's a beautiful area. It's got a lot of amenities. You could go to I-26 going east or westbound very easily. We have one situation that I'm steadily working on, and it has to do with public transportation, but I'm an advocate for public transportation, Quintin, but it has to be done right. And you have to get the citizens' impact on how it impacts negatively their quality of life.
What's right and what's wrong with public transportation right now?
Well, that's another story for another time. But I'll tell you what the BRT, the Bus Rapid Transit, if we do not get this right, it will be something in our face for the rest of our lives. And again, it will impact the livability, the travel for all of the people that live in the Tri-County area. I would just ask that Council of Governors invest more time and energy in getting to the people. The question always comes up, well, how do we contact them? Well, I'm not sure about that, but I put I go to the streets, I walk, and I talk to them. So maybe they should try something like that. A lot of people are concerned. We have an elderly population that's not getting out as much as they used to. So we have to find another way to, communicate with them. Again, we keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you're going to get to a same result. If you want something different, then you have to do something different. And I have been talking about noise for 10 years. I feel like, if I sat down to the table, I could just solve this problem very easily because I did collect the data and I do know what's involved. So I've spoken to everybody.
Right.
Now they need to speak with me and my communities because it's very, very vital right now.
You talk about obviously reducing noise. I know a year ago, so you said that Charleston County placed noise receptors in the neighborhood to measure the sound levels. How many receptors are there right now?
Well, we only put them there temporarily back in October of 2019. And again, this was for added information to what we already had. In 2014, Charleston County spent the money to do a noise analysis. So there were two pieces to that analysis and to getting this work done. It's having to do with how many people are affected. Is the noise level above what the Federal Highway Administration allows? And we meet the FHA requirement for noise reduction. The noise is there. We're at, the decibel of noise is 5 to 6 and we're at 9. So we meet that. But they're saying that there were not enough homes, not people, homes that were negatively impacted. Well, Quintin, collecting data, you could do that data any way you want to, and I really feel that they were not inclusive enough to make it work.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Goings wrote this too. Previous studies indicated the project cost is too much for the amount of people who live in the area. Jamison says more than 300 homes have been affected. Well, what's too much, Ms. Jamison, and how many people are actually in the area now versus 2010?
The homes are still there. The number of homes, since they're not counting the number of people that live in the homes are still there. The study needs to be broadened to be inclusive, but the impact is still there. It's called reasonable and feasible. The reasonable being the data was not collected correctly, so they did not involve all of the homes that would be impacted. The feasible is we do exceed the Federal Highway Administration guidelines, so we need to be inclusive. We need to look at this thing through some different lenses, because or as I said earlier, we need to look at the regulation that is not inclusive. So maybe that's the part that we are not getting. Going back, reevaluating the regulation and updating those findings to be inclusive. So there's a lot involved here. Who's willing to do the work to do this? And I think it should be, again, from the Federal Highway Administration down to the SCDOT, down to the county level, because we do have the one cent sales tax, and down to our city. But let me say this, Quintin, to qualify all of this. I met with Chairman Summey,
Sure.
Elliott Summey,
Right.
over almost 2 years ago. And he was very, very, very nice, because he had heard me say this so many times. And he did write that letter to his staff, redirecting them to go back out, measure some more noise, and that's where the 4 receptors came from in October. And he said, we're going to find that money to build a noise reduction barrier for those communities. Well, I certainly hope, and I can't call at least every month, to ask our staff at North Charleston, have you looked at any grants that they're called BUILD grants, B-U-I-L-T grants, or B-U-I-L-D grants, and they come from the Federal Highway Administration. Matter of fact, these are grants all over for a lot of different projects. And so if everybody would get busy and spend a little bit of time to enhance the quality of life for the people that live in the I-26 corridor from the 52 connected to Highway 78, it would be a plus. It would be a plus for home ownership. It would be a plus for quality of life for the people that live there now and in the future. So these things need to be done going forward. We need to look again at our communities.
And I know we talked about this, off and on, and obviously, as you know, the town of Mount Pleasant built their own noise reduction wall. Is that feasible in North Charleston?
Yes, it is, and I understand that that was money that came from the city of Mount Pleasant, and I do know that Mayor Summy in the city of North Charleston and Charleston County is willing to put in some monies for this project. So if we had 3 entities and each one of them put in about $4 million each, it would not be a hardship on anybody, because again, we have the 1-cent sale tax that the county uses frequently with all of the projects that's going on. They play into that. Right now, and I do research, and I do read.
Yes.
Unfortunately, some people do not read, but Quintin, the most disheartening thing that I found out, and that's why I'm on this journey, is that the Palmetto Commerce interchange that was originally to be South Carolina SCDOT project was shifted. So the standards of SCDOT, and I want to be fair.
Sure.
Because the standards of SCDOT had to have been inclusive of that corridor of noise that I'm talking about.
Sure.
Okay? So why did you change the ownership of the property, of the project, out of funding of the project?
Right.
Was it evasive? Was it a cost thing? Or what was it? Now, that's what my constituents are asking me, because they also read.
True.
And I have my mentor, she is a reader, and she goes way back. So they're asking me, Virginia, how did this project change? So that's a question that I have for Charleston County and SCDOT. Now, most recently, Quintin, and this is at the core of who I am, because in my opinion, and nobody has told me yet, they have pacified me, but they have not given me the answer that I need. Why is this not feasible? It's reasonable, but why isn't it feasible?
And I know Charleston County Deputy Director of Public Works, Richard Turner, says they're working to get a baseline of the noise and determine how it's expected to be over the next 20 years as traffic grows. What do you think that baseline is, Ms. Jamison?
I certainly don't know, because he's got the baseline already. If the FHA say that it should be at 6 decibel, 5 to 6 decibel, and it's at a 9 at any given time, most of the time of the day, then if we're growing at the rate that we're growing, we have a new port access, we have the Wando terminal that's expanding exponentially. We have, when we get the cruise ships back again, we're going to have a new cruise ship in town, we're going to have more travel. So what else do you need? That's a given right there. If it's a 9 right now, before we add the port, the Hugh Leatherman terminal, do the math.
And obviously, we talked about the decibels and whatnot, but obviously you said the noise is nearly double what the Federal Highway Administration considers to be appropriate. Is 78 decibels considered appropriate noise by the FHA standards?
Not in the data that I have read.
Okay.
It says 5 to 6, especially for a residential corridor. Now, what people say, well, the I-26 was there when you bought the house, or when the homeowners moved there. The decibel, I-26 was there, but the decibel of noise was not there. So as we grew, changes should have been made for those considerations, Quintin. There's no way that a city of this magnitude can grow at the leaps and bounds that we've grown at and not do some infrastructure things that would allow for a quality of life.
If I were to interview you again for Quintin's Closest, I'm sure I will time and time again, but what do you hope to tell me next in the next interview about this?
Quintin, in the next interview, I hope to tell you that, Quintin, we got the barrier wall, we have noise reduction, air, quality of life has increased immensely, and we're happy campers. And we will live in these homes forever. And our children will inherit these homes and live in them forever. And our communities will be steadfast. Our property value would not have decreased, or matter of fact, increased, and we're good to go. Again, this community has a big history.
Yes.
It used to be that's why there's an interchange that's named, Antler.
Yes.
Okay, so in all honesty, this whole area should be on and let me make sure I say this right, historical marker. Things should be preserved for the history. We know what history is going through right now, but unless it's inclusive, it does not tell the whole story. So I hope that some of the senators that view your podcast, I am hoping that they would view this, Quintin, as information, that they would see the necessity, that they would get to work and funding this barrier wall for noise reduction. We'll accept private funding. We'll accept anything that would give us our quality of life back. And the other thing that I want to say, spoke in a letter to Mr. Newsom at the port.
Oh, yeah.
And it was ironic, the response that I got, and I don't want to go into that, but everybody has a responsibility. Everybody has a responsibility. When a developer comes to our town, they should be making our places, our city, those developments better. Even the surrounding areas, they should go towards making it better. When we have a housing shortage, we have we're so widespread, until even with the BRT, we're not going to, in my opinion, that connection is not going to be there, because there we got people pushing out to Monk's Corner for that affordable home. So come on now. I was born at night, Quintin, but I was not born last night.
And I know you do a lot of research and you do a lot of reading. Have you been able to find out might be a silly question, but the estimate of a typical sound barrier wall? Well,
I know almost dollar for dollar, but every time, the more we wait, 10 years ago, it was $8 million. Approximately in 2020, 10 years, that has grown to $12 to $13 million. I want to have this conversation with some of the political leaders in our community, and I almost feel that, You know, avoidance is there for a reason, but I'm certainly hoping that they know this is not personal. This is personal,
Okay.
but it goes broader than me. It affects, you say 200 homes. If 2.5 people live in each one of those homes, and even more now since we have a shortage of affordable housing, children are coming back to their parents' home and they're bringing those 2 cars and they're bringing those
Right.
extra baggage with them, so that number is not very valid right now. But those are the people that are that wind beneath my wing, that keep me keeping on about this. It's not a day go by, Quintin, that my communities is not asking, Ms. Jamison, what about the noise? When are we going to get something done? And again, we need it. We need it now. 10 years from now, it's going to be how many $1 million? So let's get on board now and get this done.
Is there a housing shortage in your neighborhood?
Well, like I said, people have moved and people have come and then people have moved. So I don't think there's a housing shortage. Well, it's a shortage because there's not more homes being built for the number of people who have moved here. We've got Nexton up the road, and we got those 800 homes that's going up right there in that corridor of 52 in Monk's Corner.
Right.
So, and you see how far away it's being extended to cover that need. If the data was really collected properly, and if the growth continues as it had done before the pandemic, then we're going to be bigger than life.
Now, technically, you say you really don't have a shortage there. How do you think the federal people look at that, and the state leaders and whatnot, as far as you trying to get a sound barrier?
Well, I don't think the shortage in housing has anything to do with the sound barrier, because the number of homes are already there. The people living in those homes are already there. They're always going to be that 300 homes that's negatively impacted.
Okay.
300 homes, and that's what they're looking at.
Okay.
As far as how many people live in those homes, that has changed. It's gone from 2.5 to maybe 5. However you want to say it. So that's not the problem. But when people are leaving one area to go to an area that they're not a part of, not value that area in the same way, and that's when we have demise of communities.
Okay. Unfortunately, it's raining now, but Councilwoman Virginia Jamison, thank you for your time here on Quintin's Close-Ups. And let me ask you one last question quickly, yes or no. How many times have they taken data over there?
Well, I know that they took the data back in, I think it was 1998.
Oh.
And then Charleston County did it in 2014. And October 2019, they put out the 4 receptors in specific areas to, again, add some data to what they had already collected. So we have not heard what those 4 receptor shows, or the data that was collected. We have not gotten any input from Charleston County on that. So I'm sure they're working. I hope that they are working. Mr. Turner and I have a great relationship. I really admire and respect Chairman Summy. He has gone to the core of this, and I just hope that something comes about it, comes to fruition sooner, much sooner than later.
And when do you want to have a new data, take place?
Well, I just want to get the data that they got from the 4 receptors that enhance what they already had. I think that's vital. And I think my communities want a conversation. They want a conversation. They want to be updated on what is going on, what has going on, and what will go on. That's what these communities need right now.
Councilwoman Virginia Jamison, thank you for your time here on Quintin's Close-Ups, and hope to have you back soon.
And Quintin, I hope that a lot of people view this
Yes.
from the top to the bottom, and they would understand that this is not about Virginia Jameson. This is about the people that I was elected to serve, and service is something that I do, and I hope I do it well.
And we'll stay on top of this. Yes.